Welcome to episode 2 of In the Abstract, the Lakeland Title Podcast. This time on the show we have a very special guest. His name is Mathew Laborde.
Very special.
Yes, very special. He is the owner of Elifin Realty. He's a commercial realtor here in town. You've been a very successful realtor for many years, so thank you for coming on the show.
Absolutely, Brian. We love working together, and happy to be here.
Oh yeah? Well, thanks for coming. So first off, let me just ask, what is the meaning behind Elifin Realty?
So everybody asks this, and I wish I had a better answer, but Elifin is simply the combination of the words elite, E-L-I, and financial, F-I-N. So Elifin, then we threw an elephant on the logo, and so people could pronounce it.
Okay, gotcha. Well, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Wish there was a better story. You're very underwhelmed by that, Brian.
It works. I just like to know these kind of things. Where these things come from.
So when Elifin started, we primarily were doing work for financial institutions. So foreclosures and facilities for banks and credit unions. And that's where the name came from. We since expanded it to just all commercial deals, mainly focused in the Baton Rouge MSA. But that's why the name Elifin.
Okay. Well, how did you get your start in real estate to begin with?
When I got my start, so I, in high school, read the book Donald Trump's Art of the Deal.
Oh, very nice.
I read, it was one of the only 2 books I read in high school the whole time. Okay, voted biggest procrastinator in high school, total slouch, totally apathetic, except I read The Art of the Deal and I decided I want to be in real estate. So when I went to college, came here to LSU, I had an uncle, great mentor, that said, start now. That was his big advice. Start now. Whatever you're interested in, just start. And so I went to a bunch of real estate companies in town, handed out my resume, dressed in a suit, looking sharp, offering to work for free, no money, just to learn, and got rejected at every place.
Okay.
Finally, my mom knew somebody at Keller Williams in Lafayette. I met with her. She hooked me up with KW Commercial in Baton Rouge, and I worked for a gentleman named David Vercher.
Oh, I know him.
Yeah, great man. And so I was David's assistant. I said I'd come in, work for free, 40 hours a week. He said, no, I'm going to pay you, and he paid me $100 a week.
Very nice.
So it was a deal, and I learned a lot. That's my start.
Well, then where'd you go from there?
So from there, I was there for about a year, give or take. Learned a ton, as much as I could learn. And then me and a group of people led by Steve Lejeune, who is now Sterling Properties, he moved over to a company called Beau Box Commercial Real Estate. And he brought me and a few people with him. And that's when I met Beau Box and latched on and learned as much as I could from Beau, and was there for 6.5 years before starting off.
Okay. Now, why did you choose commercial versus residential? Because residential is definitely more common.
It is.
There are a lot more residential realtors than commercial realtors, so why choose that path?
Well, everybody assumes or asks if I started in residential, and I don't know. I guess the simple answer is I read The Art of the Deal, right? And I wanted to own hotels and casinos, and I thought that's commercial real estate, right?
Yeah, watch out for those casino things. Didn't work out too well.
Well, hey, I mean, hey. So my initial goal in becoming a broker is to learn the people, the players, and the game, how the commercial real estate game is played. And then I found out that rather than owning hotels and casinos, I really liked commercial real estate brokerage. Just stuck with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that goes into my next question about what do you love about being a commercial realtor?
I love putting deals together. I love that the sky is the limit. Not even the sky is the limit. I mean, there's no limits, right? I love the flexibility of it. I love to wake up and every single day is different. So many different challenges and problems arise and just keeps you just really engaged. You meet so many interesting characters. I mean, you can, I'm sure, appreciate this as an attorney and in real estate. There's all kinds. I mean, there's all kinds of people. And everybody's got their own little quirks, and it makes life very interesting.
Yeah, I agree. That's one of the things I enjoy too, is just meeting the people. Because you're right, there are some characters in this real estate industry.
There's some characters, and especially in commercial real estate, there's a lot of successful business owners. And so, as a young, person with a ton of ambition, to meet with, business owners, successful business owners on a regular basis, it really provides that mentorship, that kind of guide for the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were talking about how you got some advice when you were just starting out. So what advice would you give to somebody looking to start a career in commercial real estate?
In commercial real estate, I would say, first off, start now. I think that was excellent advice. So you can go shadow somebody, go call up Elifin, right? Call me. If I don't answer, it's on purpose, just to make sure you're going to follow up and you really want it. Go in and just take that jump. Do it. Try it out. If it's with a doctor's office, if it's whatever you want to do, if it's with a vet, just go in there. Tell them, hey, you want to be there free, because you might find out you hate it, or you might find out you love it, and that will guide you.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that, because I had to do many different fields of law before I finally realized that real estate was the one that I enjoyed the most.
Yeah? Which one did you hate the most?
Family law.
Okay.
Family law was awful.
Why'd you hate it?
It got too emotional for me. Your best family law attorneys, they could leave it at the door when they walk out of their office. They leave, everything at work. I couldn't do that. I was taking it home with me, and when you're dealing with people getting a divorce and child custody and things like that, it just gets real emotional, and it was just weighing heavy on me, and I just didn't like it. When people are fighting about their kids, you see this weird side of them that is just kind of awful.
Oh.
So yeah. So I just didn't like it. Yeah.
That sounds heavy.
Oh yeah.
It sounds very heavy.
And then criminal law is a little too much responsibility for me. Screw up there, somebody goes to jail. And
right.
Yeah. So I was like, it's a little too much.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Title work, you can usually fix any kind of mistakes you make. So.
Nice. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That is very true.
And so now for the hard question.
Okay.
What's one of the most difficult business decisions you've ever made, and was it the right decision?
I think the most difficult business decision that I've ever made was probably starting Elifin. It's not that I took a long time to make the decision. I had no intention to start my own company. Certain things happened. Somebody brought me to lunch, right? I'm not thinking anything about starting a company, and told me that God told them to bring me to lunch and to tell me that I needed to start my own company.
Yeah, really?
And I was kind of taken aback, blew it off a little bit. Things happened a month later, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll do that. And then that was in July, and by October 31st of that year, it was out with Elifin, right? So it didn't necessarily take a long time. A lot of people who were doing that, they take years, a year plus. But it was a difficult decision in that it was a test of confidence in yourself. And it was confidence in yourself, and it was really tested me. And for the first year, it was kind of like you're in the dark and you're unsure of things and everything. But after that year mark, everything started to make sense. Started to really focus. Things started taking off, and ultimately, yes, it was the right decision.
Yeah, and it's kind of different when you have no kind of like parachute, when it's kind of thrown out
parachute.
there. Yeah.
It's all on you.
Yep, it's all on you.
It's all on you. Of course, have great help, amazing team, the best people in the business. But if you fail, you're the one, you're the one everybody points to.
Oh, yeah. Now I face the same kind of thing, because the middle of this year I decided I'm just going to focus on doing real estate closings, and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm cutting out all my other lines of business.
Love it.
And it was very difficult. It's a hard thing to do, because people are still calling you and saying, can you help me with this, and you want to, because it's money, and so you want to take it, but you just got to say, no, it's taking me away from my one thing, which is doing closings, and so I can't have any distractions from my one thing.
I love it. You just be the best at what you're doing.
Okay.
And you're amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Brian's amazing for everybody listening.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
On the ball.
I do my best. So somebody comes to you and they're thinking about selling their commercial property.
Yes.
What kind of advice do you have for them?
Let's do it with Elifin.
Of course. Well, after that.
Of course, after that. No. So if you want to sell your commercial property, it really is a question of, all right, what's the motivation, right? Why do you want to sell the property? what's driving it, and based off of that motivation, we develop a plan that makes the most sense. So I would say just make sure to as much extent as possible you keep up the property. You don't just in your mind let go of it already, to let it deteriorate. Don't take care of deferred maintenance. Let tenants move out, because then you're taking a building that had a lot of value and you're letting that value get eroded away. And so before you get to that point to where it's too much, explore selling while the value's still on the upswing, still there, so that you're not, okay, everything's falling apart or has already fallen apart, and now you're trying to sell because you're not going to get the value out of it that you would have.
Okay. And then what about the other end? What about somebody who comes to you and says, I want to buy a commercial property?
Yeah. If they want to buy a commercial property, again, it goes down to motivation. So, we deal with operators of businesses. So maybe, you'd want to buy a commercial property for your next office building, right? Or you want to buy a commercial property as an investment. And there's different motivations there, and then there's different advice that comes with it. But generally speaking, start looking around, right, at the property. If you can either go to Elifin Realty's website to see like all the great deals, right, all the great deals in commercial real estate. You can also, this is just a tip to help anybody out there, the place where most commercial real estate agents list their property in Louisiana is a site called LACD as in dog B.com, and that way you can kind of see all the inventory. Now you take a second, look over there, and you can see a lot of the deals available, see what might work for you, and then once you're serious and ready to move forward, contact an agent or contact properties.
Okay. So we talked about sellers, we talked about buyers. Now what about people leasing a property? People were saying, I want to go lease a space.
I want to go get a property and lease it. Yeah?
Or like I need to lease a property. So.
Yeah, I need to lease property.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing it's the same thing with the buyer perspective, especially the buyer that's going to occupy and operate their business. So you just need to think about how much space you need, how long of a lease term you're willing to sign. What can you afford, right? What's close to your customer base? There's a lot of things to consider when you're looking to lease a property, because a lot of leases, 3-5 plus years, 3 or 5 years, and that's a long time.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure you got the right space.
Yeah. Do you have any crazy lease stories?
Do I have any crazy lease stories?
Yeah, like just negotiations that just went off the wall, or just,
that's every day, man.
Okay.
That's every day. There's everybody. I think even myself is unreasonable when you're negotiating something. You think something should be included and it's not included, and you get all emotional about it. And I think every day, nothing crazy jumps out at me. I've seen people lease space without ever seeing the building.
Oh, really?
I've seen people lease space that's currently like total shell condition, which most people, like some people do, and it makes total sense, right? And it's just about the economics of it. But a lot of people, I think, just the general public would be surprised that people will go in and lease a building that's almost dilapidated, right? And then the tenant will then spend their own money to do all the improvements to the building. So that I think to a lot of people would sound crazy, but it actually makes a lot of sense depending on the deals, the lease terms and the rental rate that you negotiate.
Okay, so are landlords sometimes unwilling to make repairs, or
all the time?
Oh yeah, all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
So how do you solve that?
How do you solve that? Well, you do it in a lot of different ways. So the landlord unwilling to make repairs. Usually what we'll recommend to landlords is you need to do the repairs that make the space tenantable for the average occupant. So if there is just ripped up carpet everywhere, or the walls have holes in it, you need to fix those things. If the doors are broken off, or if there's a hole in the ceiling, you need to fix that stuff. If the AC doesn't work, you need to fix that, right? Where we say to landlords, hey, draw the line, is when it comes to stuff that's specific to a tenant's business. So if a tenant, for whatever reason, maybe it's a medical, veterinary type use, they need a sink in some of the rooms. Well, if that's specific to the tenant, you can negotiate it, but for the generally speaking, the tenant should be responsible for that. Generally speaking, right? If the tenant wants certain fancy paint or fancy carpet or flooring, that should probably be on the tenant, right? And there's some different ways to negotiate it. So if a landlord doesn't want to even if the landlord, there's a hole in the roof, the landlord should fix it. The landlord doesn't want to fix it. We can do a few things. We can give the tenant a credit in rent. We can give them like a few months rent free to offset having to do the work, to offset the tenant's expense to do the work itself. Or we can lower their rent altogether, give them a better deal. So I just leased a space on Government Street right next to Elsie's, where the space has no air conditioning, no plumbing. The plumbing needs work. The electrical needs upgrading. It's basically 4 walls and a roof, right? Okay. There's a building next door that needs to be torn down, and the tenant just got a great rate on it, locked in for a long time, and it's going to do 100% of the work themselves. Yeah.
Just have this Mathew Laborde negotiating skills.
That's it. Yeah. That's all now, if you're just a regular person, uninvolved third party that asks that question to a commercial real estate agent, they'll tell you the answer according to how their business is doing. So if you ask somebody at XYZ firm that's not much has happened, they'll say, well, it's kind of slow, based off their personal production that year. If you ask somebody at Elifin, it'd be like, it's crazy, man. Like, everything's going wild, things are flying everywhere, people are doing deals, it's just wild, right? So that's the typical answer. And the reason for that is there's just not that much data, standardized data that's been collected over a period of time for commercial real estate, like there is in residential real estate or commercial real estate in bigger markets. So that doesn't necessarily answer your question, but it's crazy right now, man.
So in the in the residential MLS, I know that once a house sells, they put that information in the MLS, how much it sold for, all that kind of stuff, so you can go look it up. Does that not necessarily happen in the commercial?
Does not happen.
It doesn't. Okay.
Does not happen. You can mark it as undisclosed. You can also, some people just withdraw it, so you never even know it's sold, right? So in MLS, you get the fines that get the residential agents to comply, right? They fine them into submission, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The commercial agents, we don't get fined. Okay. We just do whatever. You got a lot of, it's like the Wild West, comparatively. They're working on it. The LCD board is passing new, regulations to try to tighten up a little bit. But as of now, I could do whatever. And pretty much, it's the Wild West. You got some old gunslingers in the commercial world that just march to the beat of their own drum.
Okay. So that sounds kind of crazy.
It's crazy. Well, it's tough. It makes it tough on the whole community because we don't have standardized data, right? And we don't have it widely and easily accessible.
Okay.
So makes it tougher for us, and we can't provide as great a service to the client. Which is one reason Elifin does the Pulse. Do you get the Pulse?
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course.
So we got a researcher, on staff. Director of research, amazing guy, Caleb Crawford, that goes through the sales every single week, pulls out all the commercial sales, puts it in a newsletter, and sends it out to our database of 10,000 people. If you want to get subscribed on that newsletter, right? Email thepulse@elifinrealty.com. We'll get you added to the list.
Okay, awesome. I'm already on the list, but any of you listeners out there, you should definitely get on that list. It's a great email to get. And kind of speaking of that, I've noticed that your company and you personally, y'all really embraced kind of social media because y'all are always doing kind of things about what y'all are doing when y'all go to those conventions. I always see your videos and things like that. So how did that happen? What's kind of the story behind that?
As far as social media?
Yeah, your embrace of social media.
Well, we're millennials.
Oh yeah?
Right, we're millennials.
Oh yeah.
So how did that happen? We are the only millennial-run company in town, right? And one of the only ones in the state, and there's probably not that many on our size and scale commercial real estate brokerages in the country that are like, you got a millennial kind of pull in the, deciding what ideas to follow, right? So obviously social media is where it's at, right? That's where the attention is. And as a student of Gary Vee and Gary Vaynerchuk, I mean, we're going 100% in on content. We got 2 people videoing us right now. We're audio recording it. We're just 100% in being omnipresent. And how do you do that? Through social media.
Have clients ever made a comment about it? Like, that's too much? Like, why are you always on? Like some of your older clients maybe? I don't know.
I guess not necessarily. I mean, they really say, hey, I'm calling you. I always see your stuff on LinkedIn. You're everywhere, Like, hey, you want to list on building? I just saw you sold this other property. I saw the post on LinkedIn, So it's never, some people, I guess the competition probably maybe thinks it's a little bit too much. But I've never heard that from clients,
Yeah, because I mean, it's a very different thing to do because you don't see a lot of commercial, realtors doing that kind of stuff. They kind of stay in the background and they're kind of quiet about what they do.
Right.
Because, I mean, but I guess that helps because a lot of people I don't really know that many, commercial realtors just from seeing them out in public, which I guess is a good thing that you're doing all that.
I mean, it's 100% a good thing. So where we get a lot of our business is from referrals from our network. And a lot of those people are followers of Elifin on social media. And so they see Elifin on social media. Someone asks them, hey, I'm looking to open a business. I'm looking to invest in commercial real estate. Who do I call? And they just saw our post, right, of us closing some big deal. And they're like, you need to call Elifin. They're killing it. They're everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So it's a no-brainer
Yeah.
for commercial real estate in any industry.
And one thing I just like to explain to the audience, for people who aren't in the real estate industry, they may not realize that when you list a piece of property for sale, either residential or commercial, you're paying a listing fee. So it could be 5%, 6%, whatever the agreed fee is. You're paying that fee, and that goes to the listing agent. Now, when that property, if the listing agent sells that property, they get that entire 6% or that 5%. But if you have your own agent, they get that. That's how they're paid. That's how your agent will be paid. It could be from that listing commission. So there's never a downside to really having your own agent. So you don't have to just buy from the listing agent if you don't want to. You can always have your own person there to represent you. And if you're smart, you'll get Elifin to be that representation.
If you're smart.
If you're smart. But, you can go some other way and, proceed at your own risk. But,
Appreciate that, Brian.
Oh, yeah. And so lastly, I just wanted to ask, do you have any upcoming projects or listings you want to talk about? Any kind of thing you want to alert the public about?
Yeah, we have so many projects. We've got a really cool development that I think is really special, and a lot of people are starting to catch on to it. But you know where Alexander's is on Highland Road, by Old Perkins? We got this development called Highland Park Marketplace.
Okay.
So it's everything sort of behind there along Old Perkins. And we've got, there's different groups there. Austrian's about to open a urgent care clinic. Red River Bank's about to build a bank branch there. The pediatric place is going to build a clinic there. Paperwhite is a new company that's going to open up a stationery spot there. But we have, it's really like upscale retail development. It's kind of like Town Center, but in South Baton Rouge.
Okay.
And we've got a lot of those same players, and I think that's a really special development that we're really proud to be a part of.
Okay, well, yeah, so if anybody listening is looking to get in on that, just contact Elifin Realty, and I'll go through all their social media tags here. Your Twitter at Elifin Realty.
Yes.
Instagram at Elifin Realty.
That's
it. ELIFIN Realty. And then Facebook.com/Elifin Realty. You can contact Matt at Laborde. That's MLABORDE at ElifinRealty.com, and you can stop by their office at 640 Main Street, Suite A, or you can call them at 800-895-9329.
You forgot our TikTok.
Oh, I didn't know y'all were doing
page.
that.
Yeah.
See,
I don't know what it is, but we just got TikTok. So
I don't really know what it is either.
if you're on TikTok, if you're between the age of 5 and 11, go on TikTok, follow our TikTok page, Elifin Realty.
Those 11-year-olds are renting a lot of commercial property.
They are.
So you gotta,
that's the new wave.
Yeah,
You gotta get them young.
Oh yeah. Well, Matthew, thank you for being on our show for our second episode, and
It's been a pleasure. I really appreciate it, and again, we love working with you. You do such an incredible job, and you just take care of everything, and we don't have to worry about anything, and it's quick. So we appreciate you.
Well, I enjoyed working with y'all also. Y'all are very professional. Y'all are on the ball, so never have any problems with y'all's transactions. So
Love
that's
it.
good.
I love
it. And so if you need to find us, we're at Twitter at Lakeland Title BR. We're at Instagram, Lakeland Title BR. We're at Facebook /BR Closing. Me personally, I'm on Twitter at B Johnson and on Instagram at BG Johnson. If you need to contact us, you can contact us at podcast@brclosing.com. Or if you need to contact me personally, you can email Brian at brclosing.com. And of course, we're located at 4610 Bluebonnet Boulevard, Suite B. And if you need to call us, if you're still using the phone, it's 225-387-5005. So thank you.
TikTok.
No TikTok yet. I'm gonna check that out, and so maybe episode 3 we'll be able to talk about our new TikTok channel. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Or whatever they're calling it. I don't know, channel, whatever they're. I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know.
Yeah. So thank you again, Matt, and thank you for everyone who's listening, and we'll see you next time.